And before the next episode of the Yellow Bud podcast, we have a little message for you, or more of a request. We've been doing this podcast for 4 years. This is the 437th episode, and we want to get to know you. Why is that, Terence?
It's because I think, as more people listen to podcasts, there are also advertisers who are coming on and asking us, hey, we're going to work with Yellow Bud podcast, right?
Yeah.
But who listens to your podcast?
Yeah.
And then I looked at you and you looked at me and we're like, actually, a lot of people do, but we're not entirely sure how to describe the average Yellow Bud listener.
Yeah, I mean, we know certain things like the gender breakdown, the age breakdown, but we don't have that much info like we do for YouTube or Facebook, because those stats are like, there's a lot more detail. But for podcast or audio, it's very limited. So we need your help. We've created a survey that would just take like 1 or 2 minutes to fill up. And by doing that, right, we will also be able to work with brands that you like, that excite you. Right, because sometimes we get people approaching us for like stuff we're like, why would we even talk about this?
Yeah, what value does it bring to our audience? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's one question we always ask ourselves. Like, we don't want to just be shilling something or what, just because, we're getting paid for it, right?
Yeah, like IPL or something. I don't know. I mean, I could use some IPL, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
So we have no idea. And by filling up the survey, the link is in the show notes or wherever you're hearing this. And by doing this, what will they get, Terence?
I think one thing definitely everybody will get an email with a discount code for Folklory, a 20% discount off one Folklory.
Yeah.
As a small thank you in case you're thinking of getting a gift for somebody. We'll also have share the survey results with you as well if you've participated in it.
Yeah.
Because I think maybe you'd like to also know who are the other people listening to Yellow Bud.
Yeah.
And what else do we have in mind?
A special, a little incentive where I know we have spoken about doing TikTok dances in the past, but we figured there's no better time than to pitch a TikTok dance than with this. So if we hit 500 responses, we will do one TikTok dance. If we hit 1,000, we'll do another. And for every 1,000 after that, we will do a TikTok dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll be all over social media and it'll be all over your feed. You can't get out of it. So yeah. If you get your friends who listen to the podcast, fill out this survey. It will really excite us that we have to start preparing for doing TikTok dances.
Yeah, exactly. Because Terence has been wanting to do a TikTok dance forever. Yeah. But one big disclaimer is that we will maintain your privacy. We commit to that. No personal details will be shared. It will only be broad trends. Like what percentage of our listeners listen to the full podcast at one go, or some stuff along those lines. So yeah, if you could do the survey will be open till midnight on 29th September, Friday. So 2359 hours. 29th September, Friday. The link should be in the description, show notes, and just share it with anyone else you know who listens to the podcast.
And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
So what's new, man, Terence?
What is new?
What is new, man?
What is new? I don't know, man. Like after the high of the political scandals in July, and then now, I think Tharman is being inducted as president tomorrow evening, Friday evening. Tonight. Tonight. This evening.
14th September.
Yeah, then this weekend is the crowning jewel of, modern Singapore, F1 taking place. Which is all links back to what happened in July also. Right? It's like we've come full circle, right? Everything we talked about. And,
that's why.
It's been, we're starting to see life sort of get back to the normal ebb and flow again.
But have you felt F1 or not? Like, I totally forgot that F1 is happening this weekend.
No. And that's an interesting thing because I think there's literally a Reddit thread about how F1 feels very muted this year.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are feeling like, I don't know anything about it and all. And it's an interesting discussion about why.
Yeah. I mean, the only time I feel it is when waiting for the bus.
Yeah.
I'm like, why does my bus app not show that this bus is turning up?
Yeah.
Then you find out, oh shit, like buses like 16, 10, all have just been changed.
And mine is like, driving around, like suddenly a lot of road closures and all this slower traffic and everything.
Yeah.
At certain spots, It is true. But why do you think so, man? Why do you think so?
I think because, I mean, this is how many years already? 8? 8 years?
More than that.
I don't even know who's performing, no?
You mean the concerts?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about the race, everything.
I mean, the race, the usual suspects.
No, from what I understand, the race this year is really, it's really a foregone conclusion that Red Bull, Verstappen is going to win.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, as in the whole F1, the whole season. So it's unexciting, the race itself. Yeah.
Oh. I mean, I know early years, it was yes about the race, but it was more about the fanfare around it.
Correct.
I don't know, this year, I mean, there's probably people feeling it. I haven't heard anyone talk about their plans this weekend that involve F1.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also because we're older.
No, I think maybe you're not the target market lah. It's more international, apparently this year tickets have more than doubled in price. From last year, I think to get a walkabout was $300 or 300 plus. Apparently this year it starts at 800.
Huh?
Yeah. So the prices have gone up and it's sold out.
What?
It's sold out. It's not that there's no demand. There is demand.
It's sold out?
It's sold out already, yeah.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, I thought the whole thing was quite interesting in that, of course, there are people like conspiracy theory, or is it because there's linkage to, the Iswaran and the fact that he brought in F1 and everything.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's ultimately maybe it's just that we're not the target market lah.
So then who is the target market?
People who will pay to watch a Robbie Williams concert. It's maybe older people from UK or the Western countries. People who watch Post Malone.
Oh, Robbie Williams and Post Malone are the
the headliners Saturday and Sunday. I think, yeah. So you know the names.
Yeah.
But like you, I was like, I totally did not realize they were coming. I mean, there are posters about what you see them around town, right?
Post Malone is quite okay. He's not like Taylor Swift like that.
Yeah.
Robbie Williams, I guess the older generation. Shit, it's sold out.
Yeah, but it's still sold out. So and there's so many conferences going on this week as well. So a lot of people in town, even our past guests also, like Kevin, the AI expert, is in town for some conference this weekend as well.
I see.
Yeah. So everyone, I think. I know, I also don't feel that buzz, but maybe we really are not the target market for this event.
Yeah, maybe our listeners are thinking, what are these two guys talking? F1's going to be the shit, man.
Yeah.
It's going to be the bomb.
So I'm guessing you've not been invited to big parties or anything.
What big parties are there? There are big parties?
Exactly.
Like what kind of parties? I know F1, there's a shit ton of parties that happen with all those funky clubs and stuff. Yeah, no, nothing.
We're not the target market, basically. Does it offend you that you're a Singaporean, such a big event in Singapore, but you're not even in consideration for being the target market?
I think the thing that annoys me is that I don't know. It feels like it really caters to not Singaporeans per se, so that's one part which I know that's where it feels like it's like the casino, The casino, like, I don't go to the casino.
And you have to pay to go to the casino.
Yeah, you have to pay to go to the casino. Then it feels like, then it just, it feels like, like that same feeling that we always have that Singapore is being built for foreigners rather than Singaporeans.
Two Singapores, you're saying.
But do you feel anything?
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, over the years, to me, F1 has sort of taken that it's something that's happening in your backyard, but it's like not even organized, not even involved. It doesn't even involve you.
Yeah.
And I think probably the biggest, the biggest thing you feel is, the ticket pricing is bonkers already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really, it's telling you, you talk about the haves and the have-nots. You don't have the money, you cannot go F1, even though it's all around you, in terms of road closures, in terms of the noise that it'll generate, the buzz it generates and all that. It's all around you, but unless you can cough out the $800 to $1,000, don't even think about it.
Yeah. That's why I found it funny. Recently, Lawrence Wong was at the Milken Institute giving a talk, and he was talking about, wealthy here should contribute to society, adhere to Singapore's norms, which frowns upon ostentatious shows of wealth. And I was like, really? Singapore frowns on displays of ostentatious forms of wealth?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That felt a bit weird, given it's the weekend of F1. But again,
there's then it calls into question again the person who was instrumental in bringing F1, the people who were instrumental in bringing F1. What were the ultimate goals that they had in mind as well? And we will find out, I hope, in some due time. Right?
I mean, the next parliament sitting, there's going to be a debate, right? About the motion filed to suspend Ishwaran.
Suspend his MP pay.
Suspend his MP pay.
Because that needs to come from the parliament itself.
So that'll be interesting.
That'll be interesting.
We'll probably head down.
But that's not our topic today.
It's not.
We haven't even jumped into it.
It's not.
Before we jump to our main topic, what is the one thing that we always want to tell people?
That if you're listening to this or watching us on YouTube, it would help us a lot if you can follow us, subscribe to us, hit that follow button, leave a comment, because it would feed the gods of the algorithms and feed you more stuff. And it also lets us know that, okay, we are doing something right. Yeah.
And if you want to work with us, the email is contact@ministryoffunny.com. We do our best to reply all our emails there. So do check us out there. Yeah.
Sweet.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
So we jump to our first topic, which is not about F1 nor about political scandals and all, but it is also still to do with politics. Yeah.
So there was a big headline that came out yesterday, that young Singaporeans are more ready to have non-Chinese prime ministers than older generations. And it's courtesy of a YouGov survey that surveyed 1,000 Singapore citizens aged 21 and above between September 8th and 11th, 2023, in the wake of Tharman being elected as the 9th president. So yeah, that's what happened. So I mean, the weird thing is, like, we both tried to find this YouGov survey, like the actual survey, but couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But before we dive into it, do you even know of the platform YouGov?
I know it's an online, consulting, marketing data platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does these surveys.
Yeah, correct. So it is a British international internet-based market research and data analytics firm that has operations in Europe, North America, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. So YouGov.sg is the Singapore branch. And it's a paid service.
Yeah.
That basically they have, according to them, like 24 million people in their database across these regions that they just send out surveys as and when needed.
Yeah.
So it's a public company. It's listed. But yeah, it's not just like a Singapore government initiative.
Yeah. And quite shocking how you can't find a survey.
Yeah.
Considering this day and age, like it's as easy as to just link something or what.
Yeah.
It seems like they only spoke to media about the results, but did not make them like easily accessible to the public.
Yeah.
Because I think you and I, we already do quite a bit of like extensive checking to see social media sites.
Yeah.
Checking their website, checking their
really
data.
Cannot find.
I can't find it. I can't find it on whether it's all the articles they wrote about, there's no link to it. Yeah, so I can't find the actual results of the survey or what.
Yeah, which is annoying because, I mean, normally these surveys, like if it's done by the IPS survey or some Singaporean entity, at least you get access. The mainstream media doesn't necessarily put links, but at least there's access. So this one is like, fucking, then we're just going off these articles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, some broad things that came out. So like 15% of Singaporeans believe Singapore is not ready. 22% said Singapore will never be ready or were unsure of the answer. Overall, younger Singaporeans more likely to say that Singapore is ready for an ethnic minority PM. Non-Chinese Singaporeans more likely to say that Singapore is ready for a non-Chinese PM than Chinese Singaporeans. So 76 and 73% of Gen Z and millennials say they believe they're ready. 57% of Gen X, 54% of Merdeka, and 57% of Pioneer generations are not entirely against the idea and are more likely to indicate Singapore will be ready in future.
Yeah.
So, and then once you break it down by ethnicity, 73% of Malays feel they're ready, 68% of Indians feel they're ready, 67% of others feel they're ready. So, but only 60% of Chinese people feel they're ready.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
I have to point to that.
Yeah. So that's the general broad things that stood out. And that's the only publicly available info.
Yeah. And I'm kind of sad that we don't get to really read the methodology and everything. Or at least as we're recording this podcast, we can't find the data itself or anything about it. Because One question I have is when you ask the question like, ask people to rate according to the questions here. I believe Singapore is ready to have a qualified ethnic minority prime minister. And I think the answer given is yes or no, right? When you say I believe Singapore is ready, does it mean that you're saying that I am ready as a Singaporean, I am ready? Or I believe that me and the rest of Singapore society is ready? Because I think that makes a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Like if you ask me, it's whether I'm ready, I would easily say I'm ready, right?
Yeah.
But to ask me to assess how other people are doing, to me that feels very subjective, right? That's on my own personal experience of like the people the circles I hang out with and all that, right? So I'm not very sure about how accurate an answer is this to really be saying that it reflects what people think of themselves, as opposed to what I think about other people.
Yeah.
And it's a very different thing because what I think of people can also be informed by surveys like this that I read about, right? And then I say, older Singaporeans are not ready.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean that I'm not ready, It's just that I think there's a majority of older Singaporeans who are not ready, right?
Yeah. So how do you feel reading this article or reading the headlines or?
I think the questions, the way they're phrased, leaves a bit too much wiggle room for interpretation. Like you could read it either way, right? That like what I was saying, that people are saying that about themselves or people are saying that about society and all.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, and also like I think it confounds a couple of things in that one statement, right? Like whether they're ready to have a qualified ethnic minority prime minister. Like people are saying also like, why does it have to be only about the race that you think about, right? As opposed to other measurements as well. Like, I mean, if he's qualified to be prime minister, right? If you want to making it about race, like why is the race thing being isolated in this context, right? And talking about whereas other things like age or gender and things like that are not coming up. So I'm just kind of like curious about what is the purpose of the survey. Like why was it phrased like this and commissioned like this? I don't know if anyone commissioned it, but why is it phrased like this? Like what answers were they hoping to get out of it and all?
Yeah. I think it's a fucking stupid survey.
Why?
I mean, first of all, like, for so many reasons, like, first of all, okay, it was difficult to find a survey.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Yep.
If we want to pass a judgment, we do our due diligence to try and find. And when we haven't done due diligence, we've been called out by our listeners.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we try our best. But it's so difficult to find. And then the thing is, like, who commissioned? It says YouGov interviewed. So then, without enough info, it feels like, okay, they are a listed company. I don't think they just wake up one day like, oh, we're going to do a survey in Singapore about this. No, there's probably some direction. And if it's yougov.sg, I assume the Singapore government is a client, right? So that means it was probably commissioned by the Singapore government.
That's a extrapolation.
Okay, it's an extrapolation.
We're not sure.
Yeah, correct. But
that's the thing, we're not sure.
We don't know.
Don't know.
So that is a speculation. Okay, I have no idea. I'm just using it based on the facts that we tried to find.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's even a summary given by YouGov, which was quoted in Mothership. The survey suggests that while Singapore is on a journey to racial inclusivity, there is still some way to go before it becomes a post-race society. But isn't it ironic that if we keep focusing on race, how the hell are we going to become post-race?
Yeah.
I think it's so stupid when I read a statement like that. Just that day I was talking to someone, I can't remember what, who were like health and fitness and all, and they said they try not to look at weighing scales. And for me also, right, if I try and keep fit, I try not to look at weighing scales. Because if you keep looking at the weighing scale, the only thing you think about is the number.
Yeah.
Then you forget about your health, your general feeling. And I think more and more people feel it that way.
Yeah.
But this one, if every few months, even during the presidential election, everything is about fucking race.
Yeah.
I think it's just doing more harm. And like what you said, I didn't realize the way the questions were phrased, but until you pointed it out, it's like, what is it getting at? Then it just feels like I'm almost sick of this already.
Yeah. No, so yeah, I mean, obviously it's in response to the presidential race, right?
But why is it in response to that?
Because, I mean, it was the first multiracial presidential election like where actually people got to go to the polls. So, I think we talked about this on a podcast where in the last couple of days, suddenly I was hearing a lot of like, oh, there's maybe these people who are going to be voting across racial lines and all, then flight to safety and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to, what's the freak election result of racist Singaporeans voting a certain way? Boom! The election came and went and blew that out of the water.
Yeah.
Complete nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe in the lead up to that, there was this trying to understand racial people's opinions towards race again, lah. But like you, I feel I don't know how the survey was worded, specifically. I find the wording of the questions very, very iffy. It's like trying to push towards some kind of answer, which is what they suggesting that Singapore's on a journey to racial inclusivity, but there's still some more way to go before it becomes a post-race society. And the headline of the Mothership article, young Singaporeans more ready to have non-Chinese prime minister than older generations.
Yeah.
Again, it's like the conclusion is like drawing these lines between different segments of society, saying that, hey, you as a young Singaporean, maybe you think Singapore is ready. You think that you're ready. You think that Singapore should be ready. But the older generations are not. Yeah. So I'm like, but then I think, again, I feel the methodology, unless I look closer at it, unless there's a chance to like really look at it closely, I think it's flawed. Flawed from the get-go. I like the question itself, I'm ready. The moment I see a statement, I'm like, are you asking me to talk about myself or are you asking me to talk about society or everyone in general, right? So a bit different. And then, the whole thing is just, I get your point about post-race, but it isn't the reverse argument that if racial issues are real, and if you don't talk about them, if you don't look at the data, then that kind of, you're sort of like putting on blinders about like real issues that
true,
away, right?
Yeah, true. Maybe it's because there's almost it feels. I think there are certain times where race has been spoken about well in Singapore.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was last year or the year before where we started seeing people like DPM, Lawrence Wong, even Lee Hsien Loong, just finally acknowledging that racism exists in Singapore, right? And I think that was great because previously it almost felt like, hey, does it exist? Does it not exist? But then now I think it's like going down the path of like, okay, everything, like what you say, everything I see racial lens, right? It's like now everything in Singapore also is like racial lens.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like maybe I can imagine some people saying, look at this, you fucking entitled, you don't understand the struggles, I mean, I think I do, but it's a fine balance between making everything about race versus like, okay, focusing like what you said, like are there no opinion polls about the capability of the Prime Minister? I would like to know what people think about whether do you think someone needs to be able to run a $500 million company before they can become president,
Yeah.
So those sort of polls, why not?
Yeah. So I think the timing of this release also kind of irks me a little bit as well. Because, okay, as recent as this presidential election, I think what was the big thing that Tharman said that sort of was a departure from everything that you've heard before from the government. He said that Singapore is absolutely ready for a non-Chinese prime minister as long as he's capable. Departure from what has been said before by DPM Heng Swee Keat himself. I think he was quoted saying Singaporeans are not ready. I think maybe in some ways, in some ways a bit of mischaracterized. What he said was taken a little bit out of context, where he's saying that surveys show that basically older Singaporeans especially are not ready to have a non-Chinese prime minister. So two statements of opinion, right, from the politicians, right? Can these statements be backed up by any data, right? So on one side, there was one very, very big thing one very, very big piece of data that showed that Tharman is right, that Singaporeans don't vote along racial lines. And that was the presidential election results, right? That kind of like, he put out a hypothesis and he proved it with the results as well, right? I mean, of course, there's the element of him, of his personality, him being amazing and the candidates that he was against and blah, blah, blah. But at least if you just take it at surface level, there's concurrence between what he said and his result. And it almost seems like this article, this survey is coming out as a counterpoint to what we just saw with the presidential election. Like, we need hard data that kind of like pushes back a little bit against the exuberance that you might be feeling about Singapore being ready for non. I just in my mind, maybe I mean, I don't even know if this is commissioned or anything, but this survey itself sounds to me like a counterpoint to what we just saw in the presidential election. Like, hold your horses. Don't get too excited about moving too fast, in spite of what President Taman has said, about us being absolutely ready. Because it's only the younger Singaporeans who are more ready than the older generations. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, what is the point of this survey and the agenda behind it? Or at least what is it trying to say about us? That means we're divided along, divided by generational lines? Is it that clear cut? But I just don't like the initial question that they're even asking in the first place.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, it feels like, there's a even okay, so like there's so many unknowns, because even on the YouGov sg.yougov website, there are publicly available data, like publicly available research and all that. And when you click under politics and current affairs, there's a Singapore Polls public polling methodology statements. And this was published 15 months ago. Everything else, like majority of Singaporeans positive about country and government performance, YouGov, there are more lengthy reports. But for this one, all it says is that is voting intention published? No. Mode of data collection online recruited from research panel. And then they just show the questions. It just feels like there's so little info. And then the thing that we have seen in the past, right, when there's little info, when there's black holes, people will fill it up. So in this case, it does feel like, and another thing also, like I was wondering, who are these 1,000 people?
Okay.
And the more I dug into YouGov, basically they're a listed company where you have to sign up to be a panelist.
Yeah.
Which means you have to go through the process and you get points and rewards for answering surveys. So that's their business model.
Yeah.
So then it becomes like, isn't this a bit weird? Like, they've had some claims of poll manipulation in the UK in 2022 by a former employee, but it was withdrawn. The allegations were withdrawn. But it just feels like, this YouGov thing, I would imagine, before I looked this up, I thought they were a Singapore government agency.
Oh.
Like GovTech. Yeah. But YouGov.sg, so you get people who are signing up for points and rewards. They say above 21, and they did say above 57, also assuming there are people across all demographics. It just feels there's too little info. Because if it really is the case where they provide a service where any of their government clients, or they also work with brands, want to publish a survey, then it feels like a very powerful tool. Right, like what you said, like this came between 8 and 11 September. Taman was sworn in 1st September. Right? So within a week, they did also say that this was published, done in the aftermath of, in the wake of Taman Shanmugam being elected as our 9th president.
Yeah.
So it just feels like, like you also, I'm thinking, what is the point of this?
Yeah. Okay, then if you hear that it's entirely independent, self-funded, everything, does that change anything for you?
If it's independent, actually, I would prefer it. But then who is commissioning the service?
No, not commission. Independent, as in they just run it themselves. Would that change your opinion of how useful this survey is in judging people's opinions?
It might impact it a bit. I don't know whether change.
Yeah.
Because like it's one of those things that even then you're only signing up for people who are your panelists, which means you're already self-selecting a certain demographic of people who go through the process of signing up to be panelists.
And they're incentivized to provide answers, even if they don't have strong opinions about it.
Yeah, which again is a smaller pool of people. Would I sign up for this? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. Would my mom sign up for this? No.
Yeah. So I think that's the whole thing about this. This survey came out. It seems to be getting a lot of mainstream headlines. Everyone's jumping on it internationally as well, not just in Singapore also, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it doesn't seem to be a very, very robust methodology to it. I mean, we're questioning certain things about it here. I wish they would publish more information so that we can also have our doubts cleared. But there is no information out there, and all this is really hard to find.
Yeah.
And but then it has become such clickbait, or like such, can be such strong statements that they use in the headline, where young Singaporeans are more ready to have non-Chinese prime minister than older generations. And so again, drawing lines in society again lah. So I think there needs to be more information about these kind of things when these kind of claims are made about our population. Or in some ways I'm quite irked by it lah. Right?
Because when you read it, like what you said, it does influence people's thinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you just feel
Yeah. Because I mean, there was a big thing for me about that the last 3 days of the presidential election, where all these words of like, oh, there's this racist group of Singaporeans who are coming in to go and vote on racial lines and all that. And I was like, where is this information coming from? Oh, it's coming from this friend whose mother is in a WhatsApp group and blah, blah. And I'm like, come on, I also got a lot of WhatsApp groups with a lot of strange things floating around, but doesn't mean that there's a whole wave of this happening, And so, but I think it did influence, and we know it did influence some people, because we've spoken to people who suddenly had this, freak election result kind of thing. And I mean, influencers were posting about things like that on social media.
Yeah,
right?
Correct.
Correct. You and I, we both know. So it does influence people. Absolutely does. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I mean, but on the flip side also, right, like what you said, I think if there's no acknowledgement that there's some racial lines, that's also not good. Right? Because even during the presidential election, on certain things that maybe tied to race, yes, but the way certain people had thoughts about, say, the age gap between Ng Kok Song and Sybil, if you ask me, I would imagine, most people would have no issue. But it's one of those things I'm like, oh shit, a lot of people have issue.
Yeah.
So maybe these sort of surveys, maybe they got a place, Terence.
I think they have a place, but I just wish that the methodology is a bit more transparent
and who commissioned,
robust,
what is the intention.
More robust and more information than just the headline and a short screen article with screenshots of the results, the graphics showing the results.
Because when I go to the sg.yougov.com, also when I search Prime Minister in their search field, the first thing that comes up was published 24th August 2022. Majority of Singaporeans feel positively about PM Lee's National Day rally speech. So it's like, what is going on?
But yeah. Fact-checking is important.
Fact-checking, man. So I mean, if anybody can find the survey, then we will openly admit maybe our Google research skills are not there yet.
Yeah.
But we've really tried, man.
Yeah, we've tried.
Really fucking tried.
But maybe our IT skills not that powerful, right? But there are some people whose IT skills are much more powerful than ours. Yeah. Who, end up also like
supposedly
allegedly allegedly more powerful than ours, and who end up making very broad statements on certain shows and podcasts that cause these podcasts to get POFMA-ed.
Yeah.
And what is this podcast and who is this person?
The podcast is a Plan B.
Yeah.
And just yesterday they were given a POFMA order over their interview with someone who calls himself the Messiah. And the videos first went up, I think, earlier. Whoa. Like sometime last week.
Yeah.
And I mean the sequence of events, they posted 3 clips where James Raja, who goes by the name Messiah, he claimed that he had hacked into a lot of government agencies.
Yeah.
Including MINDEF and SLA. And basically that he was facing like 400 plus charges, but he only was charged for about a much lower number because according to him, there was some deal that if he doesn't make public the info he got through the hacking, they will reduce the sentencing.
That was his claim. That was his claim that it's been POFMA now, right?
Yes. Yeah. That was his claim. And MINDEF actually came out and put out a post, I think a few days later, saying there is no evidence that there was any breach. It was a Facebook post on Monday that his claims were untrue And that was before the POFMA came out. The POFMA only came out yesterday, 13th September, Wednesday.
Yeah.
And yeah, so all three clips, all three podcast episodes on Spotify now have a POFMA correction. And I don't think they're appealing. But yeah, that's what happened, man.
Yeah, they're coming for the podcast, man.
Yeah. So I mean, there's like this clarification on factually where they have all the details. Basically, like apparently six falsehoods lah. Then every mainstream media article is there. It's on the news during the morning news on TV.
Yeah.
Because how I found out about the POFMA was my mom watching TV because she lives with us now. And she said, "Oh, what is this podcast Plan B?" I was like, "What? Oh shit, it's on the news."
Yeah.
So that's what happened.
Yeah. But how do you feel about the POFMAs? I mean, they traditionally have been for publications, online news sites and things like that, right? But now it's in a space of, we're starting to see they're going for, it's being used on TikTok users, for example, who make claims about certain things, especially regarding, say, the presidential elections. I think there was some false claims on TikTok about, that your vote is not secret and stuff like that. And now, yeah, this podcast is a very prominent podcast as well. Plan B is the current affairs podcast run by the guys who run OK Let's Go, right? Yeah. Not hosted by them, but I think hosted by a different bunch as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also very tied in, very same audience and everything, right?
Yeah.
Very similar audience profiles and all. So, yeah, what do you think of the POFMA coming on the whole podcast for something that you really can't, as a podcaster, you also can't control entirely what a guest says, right?
Yeah.
What do you think of it?
I mean, it's inevitable, right? I mean, we have spoken about it before also that at some point there's going to be regulation on podcasts.
Yeah.
I think it's a maturing of the industry. Is the fact that now a lot more people are aware of podcasts and understanding their impact and reach, which is in some way a good sign for the podcast podcast space, because it's no longer like, oh, what is a podcast?
Yeah.
Or even the word podcast is entering mainstream consciousness.
Yeah.
Of course, does it make me feel like, oh shit, we need to be more careful or we need to self-censor? Not really. So in general, okay lah, now it's becoming a legit space lah, because we saw this happen with YouTube, with Facebook video, with Instagram, with TikTok.
Yeah.
Once it goes past a certain threshold, it's accepted as part of the another pillar of media. It's good lah, because it's the evolution of the space lah. But you?
I mean, ultimately, like most of the public's interaction with this podcast is through shorter clips on social media, right? So when I watched the clip on social media, that was my interaction with it also. I admittedly have not listened to the full thing, right? Watching the clip on social media, there were quite big claims or like, you don't know how true it is. And I mean, I think this, the person being interviewed, James Raj, he was basically rattling through a list of places that he had hacked before. And there's a lot of people. He was referring to Sanho, he was referring to
SLA, MINDEF,
MINDEF,
Sentosa.
I don't know, big names, big names and everything. So there were a lot of claims in there of what he did, right? And these were basically that segment was reduced to like a quite short snippet that was put on social media, and I think that's what really probably maybe triggered this POFMA, right? Because I think the thing about podcasts is that if you listen to a podcast in entirety, there's a lot of context in a conversation that people say. Like, you and I also say like a lot of things that are alleged or that, and sometimes we refer to things as part of a joke or something, but it often leads from quite a long conversation we have where we're either making a point, a longer point about something, or that cannot be not easily condensed into a short social media post. But this one, that his claims or things were so outlandish, or it seemed quite outlandish, but they were cut out and presented as very short social media clips that if, like me, you watch the clip and you don't listen to the full podcast, you probably end up thinking, hey, wow, this guy is saying some really crazy stuff, but it might be true, I don't know, maybe listening to the podcast, there's more context that will make you, that maybe the host did go and ask him how real are your claims or what, right?
Yeah.
Or, and there might be more color there, but it was not shown on social media. So that's why I think this has gotten the mainstream and regulatory attention it has gotten.
So you're saying without the social media excerpts, which was edited, right? It was condensed.
Yeah.
Without it, likely that the POFMA wouldn't have been issued.
Yeah, I think much less likely, much less. Because, I mean, I know it's part of a bigger podcast, but yeah, these claims were sort of isolated and then presented to the public.
Yeah.
In a way that, make you sit up and notice that, right?
Yeah. And
also, yeah, to me, it's like, not that everybody needs to, it's a must for you to go listen to the full podcast if you want to make sure that's true. Because I think that's asking too much of a listener also, right?
Yeah.
But if there are certain very, very big claims that are being made about certain things like that, maybe it might be worth somehow inserting some, a bigger disclaimer on the video or anything that, hey, these claims have not been verified or anything like,
I mean, Plan B actually did in their post. They did say that they do not take any responsibility for the stuff that is mentioned in the caption. Yeah. I don't know about the Instagram, but basically they said Plan B does not make any claims as to the veracity of the stories told in this episode. I don't know when they changed the caption to say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess feels like the POFMA office direction generally is like, anytime there's something that's spreading, we need to use an equally forceful hammer and shut everything down.
Yeah.
But the counter always happens, is that more people realize it rather become aware of it.
The Streisand effect.
The Streisand effect. And I mean, in this case, I think it's because these few videos, they were probably being shared.
Yeah.
Right? As you know, receiving videos on WhatsApp and all.
Yeah.
And that is what caused POFMA to clamp down.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember, but if that disclaimer, maybe if it was literally on the video as it's playing itself, like somewhere in the bottom or something, then maybe less of an issue. I think putting it in the description a bit hard still, because a lot of people don't bother. I mean, TikTok, do you even look at descriptions on TikTok or anything? You don't, right? So that's where I think
so that when you share it also it's there.
Yeah. Especially when it's big claims and all this being made against institutions and all these things.
But then what it feels now is okay, so the thing when you issue a POFMA, from what I understand, if you choose to appeal, you have to appeal to some entity.
The courts.
The courts. And then at some point, maybe the minister who issued it.
Sorry, the minister first.
Minister,
if they reject, then you go to the high court.
Yeah, to the high court. And if you don't choose to appeal, you just put a correction, right? Who knows what happens with regards to maybe future deals your company might do with the government and all. But it almost feels at this point, the unintended consequence is you look at it as your marketing budget.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly,
badge of honor.
Whether it's a badge of honor or not, you pay how much for a TV ad, right? I cannot imagine paying anything, and sometimes it's just the phrase or your brand out there, right?
Yeah.
But this morning, when my mom told me that, I went to the TV, literally a ticker tape that was playing over 30 minutes, kept mentioning Plan B, Plan B. And, whenever you see all those stupid ass ad campaigns and they win all these Circle Jerk awards and all, it's this earned media worth 270,000.
Yeah.
Every POFMA now, you can almost put a dollar value to how much PR it gets you.
It's true.
And then it feels okay, are they aware of this? The harder they clamp down.
They meaning who?
The POFMA office.
Oh, the regulators.
Yeah, because I was thinking, every time there's a POFMA, there's a press statement, there's this, there's that. And I guess for the media also, it's clickable when you write about POFMA, right?
Yeah.
Is there a direction for it to be plastered on every mainstream media? Because I was thinking, let's say they just issue it to their content creator direct. Must there be this whole fanfare, or you think it'll be inevitable that the media will pick up on it?
Yeah, it's inevitable. I think because the government has to release a statement about it. So it's there's a press release and everything. So, I mean, that becomes news.
Yeah,
the moment they release something like that, it becomes news, right? So, it is true that there is a Streisand effect thing going on. But your question is are the regulators realizing that they are actually helping those the publications that they're actually POFMAing?
Yeah, I think so.
By giving them a lot of free press.
I give them the benefit of the doubt that they probably are aware of it. They're trying to figure it out. But at this point, right, it almost feels like, it feels like a badge of honor. It's like, as a media as a publication house, you are willing to go there,
Yeah. I mean, my biggest thing is that it's whatever the agenda is, right? It's let's say, like, sometimes POFMA can and really should be used for certain misinformation, right? But it has the unintended consequence of the Streisand effect. It pushes more people to actually go and read and listen to the thing.
Yeah.
When that's actually, that's not what you want. So it becomes a self-defeating tool.
Yeah.
And it's a tool, it's a very powerful tool, but if it's like every time you use it, you're dropping the hammer on your own foot also, then, it's like you got to question, like, hey, is it worth using it like all the time, right?
Yeah.
Especially for something that is, probably, like, I don't think, this particular hacker podcast, I mean, he's not the biggest guest that's ever been on their podcast or what before. But why is this particular one, like, capturing everyone's attention? It's because of POFMA, right? And because of these claims he's making, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, really maybe there might, whoever is in charge and all that, is worth looking at. They're really trying to analyze the results. Like, if they can get results on how much buzz there was about article before POFMA and then after
the Google search.
Yeah, and then just see like how much POFMA is actually helping these things get picked up and searched.
I mean, like Plan B also, 1 day ago, they had a thank you for 10K followers. So this was 1 day ago.
Yeah.
Today, they are at 10.3. Right? And I mean, like 300 in a day, it's still a sizable amount.
Yeah, it might not be related. Could be anything.
Could be anything, correct. But it just feels like there needs to be some study about, what is the impact? Because
I mean, there's YouGov. This should be YouGov's next survey. Does an article or podcast getting a POFMA make you want to watch it more or less?
But right? so okay. Then the other question is: do you think that, let's say we get like someone like James on the podcast and he says some stuff which is very alleged, like his claims,
Yeah.
You think we should be held responsible?
I mean, responsible as in, I mean, if it's on our platform, obviously that's where else would the POFMA be applied, right? But in the art of talking to somebody, I think the very least you can do is to, ask a follow-up question, push back a bit more. I think even like when we had Mr. Tan Kin Lian on our podcast, I think he said certain things also that made us like sort of like, whoa, can you explain a little bit more of that, right? And I think we also tried to tell him, but aren't you saying something that's completely, against what people are saying? So I mean, the little things like that I think help to frame the conversation a bit more, like less about what they can just say, and they just say it without any pushback, as opposed to what we're saying, we're having a bit more of a discussion or a debate that allows people to see, hey, there is something a bit like we as the host don't particularly agree with what the person is saying either, right? Yeah.
I mean, the host did push back saying, okay, do we need to bleep this shit out? And it was James who said, no, it's all, I have the printouts. You can print it. It's fine. I'm not scared because it's all the truth.
Yeah. So is that a pushback for you? Is that a strong enough pushback for you? I don't think it was. Yeah.
Okay, so let's say the guy was on our podcast and he said that.
No, then I asked him to slow down and sort of like identify like what he did for each of them, right? Because I think he was like really rattling through quite a number of different names that why, what, and why. I mean, maybe they did in the podcast. I'm not sure. That's the thing. I've not listened to the full thing yet, right? But if you ask me, like if I was in that situation and someone was just rattling off this thing, I would ask them to stop and slow down and sort of like go through each of them if there's the time and the space. Because I mean, those are big allegations. All these big things to be claiming to have done, right?
Yeah.
Like I tell you, like yesterday I flew on a magic carpet, that kind of thing. And then would you just like, oh, okay, yeah, right. You don't take responsibility for what you said here. Right? You gotta. I mean, you will have to like ask a follow-up question, right?
And it's also, I mean, if you think you flew on a magic carpet, honestly, like, okay, whatever, dude, I don't give a shit. What you do on a Wednesday night, right?
Yeah.
But because this one, I mean, if the government agencies are so easily hacked, it is a big
vulnerability.
threat, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm also thinking, oh fuck, is this like almost throwing down the gauntlet to other hackers? And almost putting, sometimes when you don't, what's the phrase? You don't see, you don't feel what?
Outside our mind.
Outside what you don't see, you don't. Out of sight, out of mind. It's all probably. I can't imagine a lot of people thinking, oh, like worrying every day about the security of our institutions and all. Yeah. When you hear this, you're like, oh shit, is it really possible?
Yeah, and it's not just about the hacking. He also was saying things about how he was treated in prison.
Yeah.
How the judicial process was like, he had all these charges, but a lot of them were dropped because they wanted to make a deal with him.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, there's a lot of things to be alleging in like a short span of a podcast.
Yeah, which was also refuted. But to read the exact details of what is being refuted, it feels like, wow, if 10,000 people saw the video, how many people will actually go to like gov.sg factually to read this?
Yeah.
So I think the POFMA office is probably one of the fastest growing offices in the government. They're like recruiting like crazy.
Yeah. Or working like they're really working crazy hours. Yeah.
Crazy hours. It's like every week you're like, who we POFMA-ing gang?
Yeah.
You come your Monday, your to-do list, your stand-up meeting. Okay, well, who you POFMA? Your TikTok content creators? Okay. Anything on the media publications?
I mean, but that's it. I think also equating our how we talk to Tan Kin Lian and this particular podcast also a bit different, because I think Tan Kin Lian was in the middle of a presidential election, right? So anything he said you could say it was part of the campaigning process and all these things, and if there's any POFMA to be dealt with, probably after the election, because it would be very wrong to. It wouldn't look very good if suddenly you got POFMA on a presidential candidate and things like that, right?
Yeah.
But this case was like, this person is basically, it's not like he was in the news in particular for anything.
Yeah.
He just came out and made some quite serious claims, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's where, if the idea of POFMA is to make people second guess whether they should believe what they read or listen, I feel like right now it's it's having the reverse effect.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like the POFMA thing, I mean, there has to be some other way. I don't know. It just feels like, I'm sure they're thinking of it. If you're not, please open your eyes and see how much coverage you're getting, these people.
Yeah. But at the same time, when you remember the COVID, every time you post anything about COVID, even on Spotify, right? Or YouTube or something like that, if there's COVID or vaccine in your title, there's a very big, not very big, but under the name of the podcast, there's a disclaimer or some message, right, about the COVID and where you can learn more information and things like that. So isn't POFMA sort of a government version of that? There's not policed by a private platform, but policed by regular.
But I think the COVID, all the thing that thing says is that this contains information, blah 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 blah. Almost like a warning. Okay, just be careful.
Oh yeah.
Say this. Whereas they're not making a stance whether it's fake or real, right? Yeah. So that almost feels like it can be algorithmically programmed,
So which one do you think is more effective in getting people to be a bit more questioning of what they're about to read or listen to?
I mean, I have seen stuff. Is it on Twitter where they say the image posted has been doctored? The video has been edited. I don't know how they power that.
Yeah.
But it feels like, okay, so again, that is more tech. For this kind of stuff, I don't know, like the keyword is what? MINDEF, MHA, all the government. I think it's damn hard also. Of course, in an ideal situation, these things go out and people are able to kind of tell the difference, but that's damn hard, right? I mean, now the latest in terms of the tech side of things, TikTok has banned his account.
Oh, yeah.
His Instagram account is still there, but TikTok has banned his account because I think he was really posting a lot to refute the claims and the POFMA.
Yeah.
So he's still, even this morning, he posted something on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just talking to. So it feels like, wow, this is a problem that even pre-POFMA, right?
Yeah.
It was being discussed, like how to protect people from making all these claims online.
Maybe there needs to be some kind of especially for people like us, podcasts and all, to sort of protect ourselves, right? Or at least have some layer of, not say protect, but layer of transparency about things. Is that if there are claims made by a guest or an individual on the show that are could be problematic or what. Maybe there should be opt-in kind of thing. You can say, yes, please put a message in front of this thing that there were claims made in this podcast that have not been verified or what lah.
Wow.
So a bit like that COVID, that COVID thing that Spotify does, where there are claims about COVID. But this one is not by the algorithm.
Uploading the podcast.
It's you yourself. It's like, how when you upload YouTube videos, they say, is this content for kids? Yes or no? And then you choose that, right? No, it's not for kids, so don't show it to any kids.
Oh, that's true.
Why can't it do the same for information that I can't 100% verify myself? Like, there's no way the Plan B guys could have known whether what he said 100% is true, right?
Yeah.
And then the disclaimer is very small at the bottom. But if there was a way to more publicly, like a standardized thing where you say that I can't account for the veracity of these statements and all, then at least you've also sort of you tried lah. And then you don't need the government to come and put a POFMA hammer on your content and have you put a correction notice and get letters and things like that.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Idea. Own self question.
Because I think YouTube similarly has another question. Like, I confirm that all the content is not infringing of intellectual property, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't check that, you can't upload.
Yeah. Correct,
so maybe this one is like the other side of the coin. It's like, I guarantee that everything has been said, has been verified. Because then you accept responsibility. But it just makes you think a bit like, because the last thing we want to do is incentivize people for being controversial just to get eyeballs.
Exactly, yeah.
Of course, that's the way a lot of marketing is done. But that's what worries me about this POFMA thing.
Yeah.
Because if you are just starting out as a podcast, the best thing you can do is get someone like James Raj on.
Yeah, and come and make more false statements, get POFMA.
Yeah, but okay lah, just put a correction.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a bit like,
yeah.
It's a tricky, man. Tricky. Cool.
But cool. Then now let's talk about a one shot thing. I think it's always
one shot comment. One shot comment, bro.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
One shot comment. Yes.
Okay. Do you have yours?
Not yet, because I'm pulling mine off YouTube. What's yours?
Okay. Wait. So I mean, just like one of those from regular commenter, accidental jurist on the latest podcast, which is 436, Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis facing the backlash, and Spanish football chief finally steps down. I mean, it was like one of those very holistic comments.
Yeah.
They shared about their opinions on the Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis case, which is where they say, agree with a lot of it is about the content of the letters, ask some questions, and then Rubiales shared some opinions on that case, and also a call to action to listen to the new podcast series that we launched, Afterlife Support, and that the episodes are really good.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's a gold standard comment, man. Your thoughts on both topics and a call to action to help us out.
Yeah.
Stellar. Yeah, man. What about you, man?
This was from a week ago about our podcast about the Kinderland child abuse thing going on. I think Splattered one posted, I think the Yalabat studio needs CCTV also, because Terrence seems unpredictable at times. Roar! So I think people are reacting to our facial expressions on watching YouTube videos now. Yeah. So
you are unpredictable because of your facial expressions.
I think so, yeah. That's what people are saying. I mean, another one also from Valiance. Ayo, Terrence, your facial expression is so hilarious. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. So, good lah. People are enjoying watching us talk rather than just hearing us all day.
Okay. But that's interesting.
But there are also a lot of call-outs about your use of vulgarities on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. That's a consistent thing. Honestly, right? Like, the last one, did I swear a lot? Maybe it's like 1 or 2 an episode.
Yeah. Maybe it's just that you say it with so much pride every time you say it.
Pride. Why not passion? It's not pride.
Pride.
Like just now when I expressed my feelings about the survey in our first topic.
Yeah. It's like got this look. People freeze frame your face. It's like, wow, this guy is really enjoying saying
So then I should have been like, this survey is less than ideal.
And why not? That's okay, man.
But then it loses the emotion.
No, it doesn't. It's just using other words that not necessary vulgarity.
If you did something to piss me off and say, Terrence, this really was less than ideal.
Okay, let's say horrendous. Why must I say fucking stupid?
See, now fraction effect. Now you have said, I think the effort twice this episode itself already. So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wash your mouth, Harish. I think that was another comment that I remember. So
wash my mouth.
Yeah, Harish needs
but
to
that one
wash
I
his
got
mouth.
from like extended family not from a comment.
No, I saw it in the comment.
Oh, is it? Wash my mouth.
Yeah. This host
wash my mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, I wash it every day. What do you wash your mouth with? Like wash your mouth is just brushing your teeth, right?
Correct. No, but it's specific to do with
language.
Your vulgarity.
I don't know, man. Maybe if it happens naturally, I'll do it. But I don't want when I want to swim, fish.
Maybe a survey needs to come out. Younger Singaporeans are, not so ready for vulgarities on the day-to-day podcast.
Then they combine not so ready for vulgarities spoken by an ethnic minority podcaster. Hollamo. Survey of all surveys.
Yeah.
Surveys of all surveys. But yeah. Cool, man. All right. And what is your one show thing?
Yes. My one show thing. Again, I need to pull it up.
Okay, then I can go first.
Okay.
Yeah, so I saw this one trailer called One Life for a movie that's coming out that's starring with Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is this about? And I mean, Anthony Hopkins is a legit actor, so I figured the movie was quite good. And basically, it's a story about Sir Nicholas George Winton, MBE, who I had heard of before in terms of what he did, but not very familiar about his name.
Okay.
So it is a guy who, in 1938, he oversaw the Czech Kinder Transport, which brought more than 600 plus Jewish children from German-occupied Czechoslovakia to safety in the UK.
Okay.
So the thing is, a lot of those children grew up to be like adults in the UK, and in 1998, I believe there was a documentary in BBC that where after his wife discovered a scrapbook in his attic that contained a lot of documents about the rescued children. So I think she worked with the BBC and they invited him to this event where they were just talking about his heroics because he was like a hero by then.
Okay.
And there's this one very iconic part of that show where the host says, I'm looking at a scrapbook and there's this lady, and this lady grew up and she's a successful woman in the UK now, and Sir Nicholas, she's actually seated next to you right now.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then she embraces him, he tears up a bit. And then they go on to talk, we found 3 more. And then they're all sitting around him, and he's getting very emotional.
Yeah.
And then she says, actually, there's a lot more people who want to say thank you. Can you turn around?
Wow.
And he stands up, and there are like 30 people in the audience who he rescued as children.
Okay.
And it's damn emotional. And that movie, One Life, is based on that.
Wow.
Yeah. So it looks like a pretty awesome movie. And because in the trailer, they show that moment when he stands up, turns around, and gets emotional. I was like, oh shit. That's probably the real life moment that happened. And you Google it, and there is a video.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the tears just float, man.
Where can people watch this, or it's
on YouTube. I think there's an Amazon show that's coming out. I think I will find it. But yeah, he passed away in 2015 at the age of 106.
Oh shoot! Wow, lucky guy, got to live that long. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, cool. And what is your one shock thing?
My one shock thing is a pair of videos that surfaced on my feed, my YouTube feed recently, just randomly. It's from the SBC 1980, the Singapore MRT debate. And this comes in 2 parts. And it's a recording of a publicly broadcasted debate between certain transportation experts and I think the then SBS, a senior executive in SBS, Ma Baotan. And this was from 1980, where they were debating the merits of having the MRT in Singapore. So yeah, it's quite amazing because I think this is the days before the internet, obviously, right? So obviously the building of the MRT was a very big decision back then, right? And there was a publicly televised debate between certain Singaporeans and international experts and all this about whether Singapore, what benefits does the MRT bring to Singapore and everything, to try and convince people of the need to build the MRT. So it's a very interesting like step to the past, and this was even before I was born, right? But there was Liu Taiker was there, and Ma Baotan was there, a bunch of international experts. But yeah, this was posted on the Bus Interchange Transit Videos YouTube channel, which I think is a bus enthusiast channel. But this was posted a year ago. It's like not a lot of views, like 50, 60K views. But just an interesting look, because I mean, we just went through what we saw, the presidential forums and all that in
where it felt very like manufactured.
Yeah, whereas this one felt much more like a real debate, right? With people who are, not necessarily part of the establishment and all that coming to speak up and things.
Oh shit.
So interesting.
How long is it? How long is it?
I mean, the first video is like, they're both 45 minutes each. So an hour and a half in total, I guess. Yeah. Wow. So I've only just like started going through the first one, and yeah, it's really interesting how debates and all that used to be conducted on TV in Singapore.
You listen regular speed or double speed?
Regular speed. I just want to enjoy it, Harish. Yeah. Not everything in life need to rush and double speed.
Sometimes must double speed, triple speed.
The double speed, triple speed. Yeah.
Yeah. But cool.
Singapore
cool,
MRT debate. Check it out.
Sweet. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. And if you just finished listening to this, you enjoyed it, please just remember to hit follow, subscribe, give us a rating if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Hit that thumbs up button on YouTube. And yeah, just we would appreciate all the love. Peace.